Falcons go to Carolina to take on the Panthers, the undefeated Panthers, the Cam Newton-led Panthers. What are we expecting from the Falcons offense? Because they haven't had much.
Yeah.
If you look at the problems that I see on that offense, and the reason they're trending this direction is you have Julio Jones and no one else. You've had, very limited production from an old Roddy White. You've had Leonard Hankerson now on IR. You have Devin Hester, who hasn't contributed at all this year. It's like Tammy and Julio and DeVante Freeman. Yeah. But Freeman's not a wide receiver. But he has to play one on TV.
Yeah, that's he basically is. I mean, that's why he gets 5-6 catches a week. You can book it.
So where do we want to start in this discussion? Jonathan Stewart has 8 straight weeks of 20-plus carries. He's in your lineup. Cam Newton's in your lineup.
Yes.
Ted Ginn, Julio Jones. Talk about both sides here for me. Talk about your concerns with Julio. Where's his baseline really with Josh Norman? And should people be concerned about a couple of limited practices this week?
I don't think you should be concerned about the limited practices at all. That's veteran treatment. Calvin Johnson has been limited since 2012, basically every single day.
Right.
And he plays. And I expect Julio Jones to play. It's the hot topic of Julio Jones versus Josh Norman. Yeah, there's some concern there, but you play Julio Jones in this matchup. This isn't I don't have the Adrian Peterson concern that I had for
17 targets last week for Julio Jones.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Julio is going to be fine against Josh Norman. I don't think it's a gigantic deal. Josh Norman stays on the outside. They move Julio around. They'll put him in the slot. They'll put him on the left. They'll put him on the right. And so he'll have Josh Norman on him, a good chunk of the game, but not all game. And if you look, it's actually kind of how they use Brandon Cooks as well, who played last week. Brandon Cooks had 6 for 104 and a touchdown. So to say that Julio can't have a good game is silly, and I'm not sitting Julio. Julio's who got you to the playoffs. Start him and start him over most all guys.
Do you think Julio Jones, when he's lined up in the slot, will point at Josh Norman and be like, "Boo-boo, you can't guard me"?
Probably not.
And then Josh Norman, drats,
yeah,
foiled again.
Probably not.
What? That's going to happen.
What's funny is that Norman has been talking up the matchup a lot. I think he said a Jerry Maguire line of like Julio completes me or some joke about their matchup, and Julio's like, I don't care. He's like, Julio
cares.
He's like, I don't get motivated by that. I get motivated to play for my teammates.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Well, okay, so
Ted Ginn.
Yeah,
we can need to touch on Ted Ginn. To me is John Brown with worse hands. Of course, I'm not giving him John Brown's catching ability, but he's a guy that you can have some confidence starting because at least a few times a game, Cam Newton's going to take the deep shot. Does it connect? Maybe. We saw John Brown do it last night and against Atlanta. I don't see a reason why it can't happen at least once. So Ted Ginn he's an okay flex home run start for me.
Okay,
perfect.
And then Matt Ryan, you're getting the sit down this week.
Oh yes, Matt Ryan.
Okay, and anything else there, or can we move on to the next matchup?
That's all I see.
Are you guys going to start Greg Olsen?
Yeah, he's in.
All
right, Titans at the New York Jets. Jets are favored by a touchdown in this game. Marcus Mariota is coming off a huge game, especially on the ground. Can you play Marcus Mariota this week? And if so, who would you play him over?
This comes down to maybe I'm being silly. I don't know. If Darrelle Revis plays, which it sounded yesterday like he is trending to play, he was on the field. He had the red no-contact jersey on, but he was out there. So I believe that speaks very positive to his ability or his chance to play on Sunday and clear the protocol. If Revis is playing, I don't stream Mariota. I think there's much better options available.
I think Mariota can have a fine week. I really do. I'm not worried about him, but from a fantasy football perspective in the playoffs, you see him have big games and have lousy games. There are so many options that I would rather start over Mariota this week.
Hoyer.
I would rather start Hoyer. I would rather start Alex Smith, Winston.
Alex Smith,
Ryan Fitzpatrick, Blake Bortles, Tyrod Taylor. All those guys I would have more confidence starting, even though Alex Smith I don't think has the same ceiling that Mariota has.
That's fair.
But Mariota's floor is a terrible rookie game against a good defense that he goes out and gives you 6 points from the quarterback. You're not going to get that from Alex Smith.
Okay, so are you buying into, Kendall Wright didn't practice. I don't think he's playing. You guys thought he would play hurt. I think he won't play.
Okay.
If he doesn't, hypothetically,
Delaney Walker.
Okay, Delaney Walker's the answer. We know he's basically a wide receiver.
If Kendall
but what
Wright
about
plays,
Dorial Green-Beckham
It gives him a
with
boost.
no Kendall Wright?
I mean, the hard thing is about Beckham just being the rookie. We did see him get involved last week. However,
But you had a game 2 weeks ago where wide receivers caught 5 passes in the whole game.
yeah, and the Titans scored 40 points or so last week. So
Exactly.
Green Beckham got involved. I mean, they're not going to put up those amount of points on the Jets this weekend.
Yeah.
So he is a pray and spray type player if you want to put him in your lineup, but I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
Me too.
Okay. So you're not starting a running back from Tennessee. Are you confident with Chris Ivory because of the way this game flow is likely to go, where they're leading? Ivory should be on the field. We talked about this on the last show where 25 of the 27 plays or something in the fourth quarter were pass plays. So Powell saw a lot of the field in their comeback attempt against the Giants. Thoughts on Chris Ivory?
Yeah, we all have him pretty much as a low RB1. He's in that 10 to 13 range for us as a running back. That's exactly what I expect him to do. If he's on my roster, he's probably almost definitely playing.
He's playing for me. And as far as Powell, if you're in a PPR, I'll flex Powell. I think he'll still get some catches and do some work in the game, but he's not a full confidence start.
Raiders at the Broncos. They head to Denver. Denver's a heavy favorite in this game. This is the alert for all Derek Carr owners. Hopefully you have a good streaming option because I just wouldn't touch him in this matchup. We've talked about it all year long, but the Broncos have given up 1 touchdown to wide receivers on the season. Number 1 pass defense by far. Number 5 rush defense.
I believe that 1 touchdown
It was to Crabtree, maybe?
was it to the Carr?
It was to Carr.
Yeah.
So you're saying there's a chance he gets 1 touchdown to a wide receiver. That's pretty optimistic. So
what are my chances?
The real hard part about this, and I've gotten so many questions this week from listeners, it's still the Cooper Crabtree. Would you start them over, another handful of guys that I have a hard time saying, yeah, I'd rather play Golden Tate over Amari Cooper. I'm going to go throw out, Tyler Lockett over Michael Crabtree. Those are hard things to decide.
Not Lockett.
Where I'm saying,
I can handle
even if they don't score a touchdown, isn't there some baseline of catches there that we can be okay with?
Not really. Well, I'm just saying. I mean, you are right. I would start them over Lockett, but the truth is, it's not like they give up a bunch of yards either. You know what I mean? It's the Broncos D against the wide receivers is excellent, and yes, I mean, we don't know the future. Carr could go and have the game that nobody. Well, you two don't. I have to pretend. The Carr could go and have a game that nobody's had against Denver this year. I mean, he could do it, but I'm not going to say that he's the one that's going to come in and do what other guys.
Brady had a good game against them.
Well, exactly. Okay.
Fantasy wise.
That's
period.
kind of,
period. End of list.
Amari
much.
Cooper 4 for 47 last time against Denver, and that was at home.
So we're just not excited.
Do you know
Crabtree was 4 for 54? He did not have the touchdown. Or was it? Maybe it was Teddy Bridgewater.
You might have been right. I don't remember.
It was Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater put up 250 and 1 against them. So
of course he did, because that Teddy Bridgewater
rises to the
he's
occasion.
garbage unless he plays a top passing defense. So there's a hot fantasy tip.
Okay, I've got a sneaky gross start. I want you guys'
Sneaky
opinion.
gross
Sneaky
star.
gross start of the week. All right,
His name is Booger.
his name is Booger. This is a guy who I
Andy
once.
likes that one.
I don't know if I liked it. I hated it.
All right,
I don't know if it's Friday. It's a Friday joke.
Once upon a time,
Ooh, story
based
time.
on a matchup, I made a gentleman my start of the week.
Don't do it again.
No, I haven't. We've already done our starts of the week. But
Oh,
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. There's a change at quarterback.
Hit the button.
No. The listeners don't know who I'm talking about yet.
Yes, they do.
Okay, let's say, okay, if you're listening, try to guess who I'm talking about I'll give hints narrowing it down here. He plays for the Oakland Raider. I'm sorry, he plays
for the Broncos.
Nice.
For the Broncos.
Nice
He's
hint.
playing against the Raiders. He's playing on the Broncos. He is a pass catcher. He is a tight end. He is not the
eligible for Social Security.
eligible for those. I'm just saying, Owen
He's
Daniels.
an AARP member.
He has Owen Daniels. Ever
he
since
has
Brock
plastic
Osweiler's
covering his couch.
come in, he's throwing to the tight end. Vernon Davis might be missing. You've got hurt running backs. You've got the Oakland D. I'm just saying, maybe.
Is there some
All
like
right.
drop I can put to just on an island, like just separate him from the? Roll your chair to the corner for 5
All right.
minutes.
We should
I'll be back
have
quickly.
like a beach, just a beach ambiance with
Yeah.
some island music.
There you
and
go.
Say, yeah, you're
You're
by yourself.
You're by yourself. You and Revis. All right. Cowboys at the Packers. The Packers are favored in this one. Weather shouldn't be an issue, but will the offense, the bipolar offense of the Packers, be an issue? Because I hate to say it, I like Eddie Lacy.
Oh, we're back.
Well, we're not back. We're just
You like him. You like him.
You love him.
Hey,
not
hey,
as much as you, buddy. You have him at 13.
No, I do. I really
I don't
like him.
disagree.
I have him
I
as a 2.
I would personally like him a little bit more if he had a different matchup, but I do think he's going to get the ball. He is talented. He's got a chip on his shoulder now. The problem is the defense he's playing against. I probably have him a little bit too high at 13. I mean, that's a running back 2. That's where I expect him
I don't
to play.
think the Cowboys can score on the Packers. And if they can't score on the Packers, this game's going to be run the clock out with Eddie Lacy. And that's why I like him in this game, even if the matchup from a yards per carry standpoint isn't great. The Cowboys, their defense is all right. Their defense is all right. They showed up against Kirk Cousins. But I just don't know if it's going to happen in Green Bay.
Well, Sean Lee should get injured about halfway through the game.
Oh, Sean.
Oh,
and that
he's
will
great,
help.
man.
He
He's
is
great.
amazing. But
Listen
man,
to this.
He gets injured.
Cowboys cornerbacks have gone 510 passing attempts without an interception. That's a lot. That's a lot.
And I doubt they're getting him against Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I doubt that too. So the Dez Bryant confidence level is low. It is the kind of confidence level that a superstar gets with Matt Castle. I still think he's the wide receiver, the pass catcher I would start from that whole team.
Who would you rather
That's the only
start,
one.
Dez Bryant or Jeremy Maclin?
Oh, Jeremy Maclin.
Maclin.
If I had like leaps, bounds, and rivers.
That one to me is a little bit closer.
Really? Why?
Well, I don't like Maclin that much this week. I
Why?
actually just moved because of what we were talking about. I didn't
think that was something that was going to – I thought that was like perspective. That
I-
wasn't something that was going to move the
Hold
needle
on,
on a
hold
guy
on.
that has like 200-something yards in the last 2 weeks.
I tuned out because I wanted to verify a reference I was going to drop. That was going to be really good, but now we got to move on.
Yeah, we do.
Was he saying Dez Bryant?
He was saying Dez Bryant or Maclin is close,
Yeah.
and I just don't think it's close.
Is Los Angeles close to New York City?
New York City?
I think.
I'm at a loss to think that you guys actually think that Maclin and Dez are going to be separated from the East as to the West. I mean,
I
I
got
do.
lots of reasons to think that.
you've got Dez Bryant. What's his baseline of catches? Let's
I
just
got
throw a
them at
number out.
19 and 39. That's the two difference. That's
like,
the
what's
difference
the
between
floor for Dez Bryant and catches?
Yeah.
0.
Yeah.
It was 0 through 3.5 quarters or something last game.
I mean, he has 2 games over 50 yards.
Here's the problem. This is like I have Maclin as a 2, as a number 19. Tremendous upside against the bad defense at home, on fire. Alex Smith driving the ball downfield. What's the upside for Dez Bryant?
Touchdown, red zone looks.
Maybe.
Can they get to the red zone?
How many touchdowns does he have on the year?
Well, I mean, he missed the majority of the year, but he's got 2.
I mean, this is just kind of a fruitless argument and not very helpful because we're just arguing about how much we like one more than the other, and it's just, yeah.
Yeah.
Start Jeremy Maclin, start T.Y. Hilton, Golden Tate, DeVante Parker, Brandon Cooks, Michael Floyd, all above.
Okay, so
Dez Bryant.
Michael Floyd played
let's-
yesterday.
We got to
I know,
hash this
I know.
out. How close do you see Dez Bryant finishing in points compared to Jeremy Maclin?
I think that Maclin will have him beat by at least 6 points.
I will take that water bet.
Water bet.
Stupid bet, but whatever.
That's how you get 2 people to agree to
yeah,
water
I
bet.
could tell. I could tell what you were doing the whole time. All right, The New England Patriots head to Houston to take on the Texans. The Brady Hoyer reunion. Nobody's excited about that, huh?
No.
Now, J.J.
think-
Watt, that wasn't in our news, but J.J. Watt broke his hand at practice. He's going to be playing.
I don't think it was news to J.J. Watt. I think he just wrapped it up and went back on the field.
He missed the practice, so no, he didn't.
Well, he got it casted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And missed
He'll
practice.
play.
He will. He will play.
He's going to play. He'll be okay.
He'll be clubbing people.
You know, he may not, you know, if he puts the arms up to catch an interception, that might be hard. That might not happen. But yes, J.J. Watt did get injured in practice this week. I think a lot of people want to know what the Texans defense can do. They've been playing very well. They did lose last week. They gave up 3 touchdowns to Tyrod Taylor. So they've been a little up and down. If the pass rush can get to Brady, and if Brady doesn't have reliable weapons, we saw LaFell drop passes. We saw late drops from some of those key targets. And if Gronk isn't on the field, is it going to be James White? Who's going to fill in the gap there?
I still have strong confidence in Amendola. White is an enigma, man. I don't know if I would trust him. I can understand if you're in a situation of, let's say you're
White or Blunt?
Blunt.
Really?
I'm going to go
Yeah.
White.
I would go White.
In,
I'm done.
In standard or
No.
what scoring format?
That does
matters.
make a difference. That does. I think you've got any form of PPR, half or full. I'm going White.
That's fair.
Standard, I'm going Blunt. Because I don't expect White to get, a ton of yards. I expect both of these guys to get about 50 yards. Touchdowns are probably about the same. It's just a matter of who's going to get. If you get points for catches, he's going to get
the problem.
I'm going to go with White.
The problem with both of Blunt and White is the same that has always been when it was not Deion Lewis as the running back. Is both these guys could get 2 touches, and that's it.
Yeah, it's hard to start either guy.
Well, and Blunt has been so bad for 3 straight weeks.
The higher upside guy is clearly White.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're in a playoffs and you're in a pinch where you've got to start one of these guys, either one could put up 0.
Yeah.
So the only thing you're caring about is the ceiling, and that's going to be White. So that's really
I like that argument.
All right, so deeper leagues, you're starting a running back from the Houston Texans, and his name is...
Oh, no.
that's his name. That is good answer, Mike.
That's the name.
That is the name.
Is it Polk?
Well, that's what I'm asking you.
I think if I'm going to start somebody...
Last week it was Chris Polk. He was 12 for 61, and he caught a touchdown pass, though, so that's hard to rely on. Grimes is getting 6, 7, 5 carries a week.
I think it's got to be Polk because we have to assume here that you're going to be down in the game. And if you're down in the game, Polk is the better pass catcher. You don't think so?
No, I'm not going to assume they're going to be down at home. The game line is only 3 points. Their defense has been playing pretty good, and we saw what happened last week with Philadelphia. And
I'd still go with Blue.
I think I'm going to go with Blue
because of the history of it being him. Was last week a transition to Polk? Very well could be, but I'm just going to stick with the history of Blue. So that's
Blue has had that times where all of a sudden he's got a game with 4 carries, and then he comes back, he's got 37 carries the next week or something like that. So anybody else you need to talk about? Chandler, you're starting him if Gronk is out?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Would you start him over Jordan Reed or Travis Kelce?
No.
Okay. Anybody else you want to talk about in this game? We got one more matchup, and then we got the Daily Dose.
Shorts and Washington are okay lower end starts. I don't have a problem.
Do you have a
with
preference with one direction or the other, though?
Man, it would probably. I guess nope. I can't make a case for one or the other. Sorry.
All right, the Giants and the Dolphins on Monday Night Football. This game is basically a pick'em game. It's in Miami. The Giants have had some struggles. They're very up and down. You can count on Odell Beckham, but can you count on any other offensive player on that team?
Eli Manning?
Including Eli.
I think you can count on Eli. I would start Eli over some of the other options.
Okay.
Because in part of Odell Beckham. Honestly, after Eli and ODB, I think you're looking at. I mean, I would think Will Ty is as good an option
The
as
TIE Fighter
as anyone else. I mean, I'm not starting any of the running backs. If you have to start one, I guess you go with the standard PPR question of, Vereen versus. But I mean, you're not.
No,
you're in
I'm
the
not
playoffs.
starting any of these guys.
the people listening are in the playoffs, and they didn't get to the playoffs with the Giants' backfield. So,
But they might have got there with the Dolphins' backfield. Lamar Miller,
Yes.
back with 20-plus carries last week.
Yep, you gotta go full confidence with Lamar Miller.
Landry had a tough game, but they only threw for 86 yards. I think that changes. The Giants have given up 250-plus in 83% of their games. The Landry, Parker storyline, I've told a lot of people, flex DeVante Parker.
I do not blame you at all. Matthews, we saw him be a very productive fantasy player in this system, and he is out because of his broken ribs. DeVante Parker is, dare I say, a more talented player than Rashard Matthews, as was evidenced in one play.
Yeah.
he jumped
on the touchdown catch.
so high.
Yeah.
And yeah, he had moon shoes on. So I love that as a sleeper pick.
Who would
Parker?
He'd be quite the sleeper pick for Monday Night Football. You'd bring him in there into the week, give you a
Glory
big game.
play.
Glory play.
We've recommended him to a lot of people. Mike, who do you like better between Jarvis Landry and DeVante Parker? Standard scoring.
I'll still go with Landry.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with
Landry's
Landry,
been a target vacuum for almost the entire season, so I will stick with him.
Good.
But I think Parker's I like him.
Interesting play.
I like
Interesting
him.
play.